Hey yo, what is good, my Essential Warriors? It's your boy Sparkin Esencia coming at y'all with another video. And today, I want to talk about how, in my opinion, the developers have affected this game from its release until today, and how they can probably bring this game back for this year 2026. This video is basically a sequel to one of my previous videos where I go over on how I believe the community has affected this game and its environment. So I definitely recommend for you to go check that out. You'll find a link for that video in the description down below. So let me start off by addressing something from this particular video of me talking about the community. You know, just to keep things clear moving forward. I got some comments in that video arguing that it's never the fault of the community when the developers are the ones who created such broken mechanics, or that blaming both sides equally is unproductive and takes away responsibility from the developers. And yeah, that's right, the community is not to blame for those mechanics being broken or the game being unbalanced. But I never said that was the case either. I'm also not implying that the community is the main reason as to why the game fell off. In fact, at the very beginning of that video, I mentioned that pretty much everything regarding this game, and by extension, its mechanics, is strictly the developer's fault, since they're the ones who actually created the game. And that's something that the community will never be guilty of. That being said, I do appreciate your comments and feedback, so keep it coming, guys. Just remember, be respectful to other people in the comments so we can build up a positive community. Now, as I said, that video focuses on how I believe the community has affected this game's environment, making it toxic and full of negativity. This video, on the other hand, will focus on how I believe the developer's actions led to the community being like this, and ultimately, this game's early downfall. So you already know how we do things over here, and we're gonna start right from the beginning. Let's go back to the beginning of this game's life cycle, which was an absolute unbalanced chaos, which obviously catered to cheesy playstyles and ultimately led to toxic environments where everybody just abuses the game mechanics just to get the W. On the one side, you could pretty much win battles with one good combo into an ultimate, because remember, there was no damage reduction on combos back then, and if it was, then it was a very low amount because it was basically unnoticeable. You could pretty much do a 30k combo or more if set up correctly and while using the correct characters. Just picture the Dragon Ball FighterZ 100% TOD combos, but it's 10 times easier to do and basically anyone could pull it off. Yeah, not fun at all. Then, you also have the extremely lore accurate androids, more specifically Dr. Gero and number 19, who could fly up and down the whole match with no drawbacks, as we all saw in the tournament that Bandai held for Spark Zero. Also, Gero and 19 had the option to only engage by forcing banish or super counter wars, since they, and all androids, could still recover ki while doing so. Or they could just spam you with grabs, which would take away like half of an HP bar and like 2 or 3 ki bars. I don't remember off the top of my head, but it was insane. The point of the game on release was to be as lore accurate and as chaotic as possible, and not to be precisely balanced, you know? And to that degree, that's fine, because this isn't a traditional fighting game like Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat or even Dragon Ball FighterZ. It's more so a Dragon Ball simulator. But when you decide to get into the competitive side of fighting games, then like it or not, there must be balance added to the mix. And when you finally got bored of playing ranked and wanted to do something else in the game, you go to the episode battle mode, and the whole thing looks super cool at the beginning. You have like 5 or 6 different characters to play as while you go through the story. You get to play as some antagonists like Frieza, Goku Black, Jiren, and you get to explore what-if scenarios. And on paper, that sounds really cool, doesn't it? Well, it does until you find out that basically the whole mode is a PowerPoint slideshow with some cutscenes sprinkled here and there. Not to mention the fact that the game mode itself is incomplete. The most notorious example of this is Vegeta's storyline, which actually ends on the Majin Buu saga, when he's actually a major character throughout the entire Dragon Ball Super storyline and goes through basically the same events as Goku does. But even Goku has part of his story missing. I mean, The game skipped the whole tournament between Universes 6 and 7, when he did Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken for the first time against Hit. They completely skipped all of that. The what if scenarios were cool, but even then, on one hand, you had completely different storylines moving forward, like Goku goes Super Saiyan against Vegeta in the Saiyan Saga, or the whole Gohan Black what if. But on the other hand, you just had short-lived alternative endings or scenarios that just ended there and didn't do anything for the what if story itself. This was one of the coolest features the game had to offer, and they decided to do the absolute bare minimum with it. Although I will say, they did put some effort into some of the what if stories. They actually went ahead and created what if characters for specific scenarios like Gohan Black or Super Saiyan Scarlet Vegeta. But are those characters playable in the game? No. Are they alternative skins for the characters? No. They were only seen in their own what if scenario, and even then, you can fight as them. You have to fight against them. So obviously, the player base was pretty upset about this, and people were theorizing we could probably get them as DLC characters or costumes as part of a free update, which unfortunately wasn't the case. Then, the Heroes of Justice DLC arrived, which is still the most complete DLC this game has gotten so far, with 5 base characters, the outfit Piccolo uses in the superhero movie being available for base superhero Piccolo and Power Unleashed Piccolo, also 3 additional costume battles, and of course, the transformations for both Gohan and Piccolo, leaving us with 11 playable characters. And here is where the downfall pretty much began in my opinion, because by this point in time, the game had already suffered a massive drop in its player base due to the game being an unbalanced mess. There were plenty of exploits and glitches that were easily abused by the players, and the developers just weren't doing anything to fix the game. And this will continue to be a problem until we got our second DLC, which introduced a balance patch as well as the time cast into the game, which was composed of 4 base characters as well as the transformations for Mini Vegeta and an outfit that allowed Mini Goku to go Super Saiyan, making it 8 playable characters and 1 outfit, which is already less than what we got for the first DLC. And sadly, this would be the formula they would use to bring content for this game. They decided that it would be a good idea to balance the game only when a new DLC arrives, since they had to create a more balanced environment for the new characters to come into play, while in the meantime, they would leave us completely in the dark with no communication or notice of our bug fixes, updates, or even asking for feedback. They did none of that, and till this day, this is still a thing. Till this day, no content or balanced patches are being added to the game if a DLC doesn't come along with it. Not even the rank reset we just had like a week ago did they release a balance patch or anything for this new rank season. In fact, they still haven't given us the titles for the player and character rankings for that particular season. They pretty much forced PvP to be the main game mode, while episode battle and custom battles were left to rot alone in a corner. Custom battles has gotten some updates, but it really is just the same experience overall, which is not that good and very tedious for the most part. But what about episode battle? The only updates that this mode has received are the balancing updates this game had for PvP. No new main story updates for the characters available, no new what ifs, and no new characters were added into the mode itself. This game is pretty much centered about the Broly movie, and the only piece of content we have from that movie is the characters. We don't have any representation of that movie itself in episode battle, and we don't even have the locations where the movie takes place as playable maps in the game. That being Planet Vampa, which is Broly's home planet, the Glacier map and the Destroy variant, or even a space map with Planet Vegeta in the background, which actually appeared in Budokai Tenkaichi 3 as a Dragon Ball Z version rather than the Dragon Ball Super version. Because that's the other thing, this game is still lacking content. Even if we go to PvP, which is the main focus of this game, you'll still find a ton of content missing, ranging through the map variety to customization options, which has a lot of slots for every single character in the game, but the majority of them, there's nothing we can do since there's no customization items available. Also, the game's release date was even pushed to drop at the same day as Dragon Ball Daima did, despite the fact that the game didn't have any kind of Daima representation other than Mini Goku who was the pre-order character for the game. But outside of that, there was no Daima material at all. Even to this day, episode battle hasn't included the Daima storyline, mostly due to Mini Goku being the only Daima character available at the time. But when other Daima characters arrived, they had already forgot about the game itself. And speaking of Daima content, let's talk about the remaining 2 DLCs, which at that point they decided to straight up call them character packs, since they no longer implemented outfits or any sort of extra content. They did give us a map for the last DLC, but the whole community was literally begging for a new map since the first DLC came out. We had to wait 4 DLCs for us to get a new map, because they also could have added a map alongside the Charlotte DLC, but they didn't. And yes, I do understand that he was a collaboration for the Dragon Ball Legends anniversary, but even then it felt lackluster. They didn't give Charlotte any of his transformations. And in case you still don't know Charlotte that well, here's a quick reminder. He's an ancient Saiyan from around the time the original Super Saiyan got his from, and he's also the main character of Dragon Ball Legends. He was designed by Akira Toriyama himself, and he can also canonically go from Super Saiyan all the way up to Super Saiyan Blue, the only transformation missing being Super Saiyan 4. Now, we do know that they will announce something this month, January 2026, on the Genki Tamatsuri event that's being held on the 25th, and that they'll be either showing us or straight up dropping the next DLC on April. So, what could the developers possibly do to bring this game back? First of all, I'ma say that this is merely my opinion on the matter, and that you're free to disagree and to share your opinion down in the comments. Just keep it respectful. You a grown-ass motherfucker, bro. Don't be arguing with people online over something y'all can control, man. If you can give your opinion without talking trash or getting into a fight, then we don't need your opinion right here. So, in my opinion, the game already has enough low DP characters to go around. They could bring left out fan favorites like Super 17 or the Tamagamis, and they would fit right in because they're higher DP characters. The Tamagamis would be around like 7 or 8 DP, and it's a crime the fact that they're still not playable in the game despite playing a major role in the Daima series. Super 17 could also be an 8 DP character to have him on par with Super Saiyan 4 GT Goku. Now, keep in mind, I'm not talking about just one DLC, but the whole season. So what I'm about to mention could be easily put together in another 3 to 4 DLC packs throughout this new season. So, let's start by updating the episode battle mode. I'll try to focus on keep this as realistic as possible, because let's be honest, a whole story mode revamp is way too far-fetched. Okay, so first, give us a complete story for characters like Vegeta and Piccolo, who are missing the whole Dragon Ball Super portion of their stories. Give us the Broly movie storyline for the main characters, those being Goku, Vegeta, and Frieza. In the Frieza part of the storyline, you get to see the events unfold from that side and play as Broly until Frieza shoots Paragus, making Broly reach Super Saiyan and then attempt to survive Broly's rampage as Frieza. They could even do some what-if scenarios along the way, one where Broly defeats Goku or Vegeta in their respective fights, or even both of them, one where Frieza doesn't shoot Paragus, or somebody manages to save him before Frieza shoots him, or even a what-if where Frieza defeats Broly while Goku and Vegeta are gone, or even Broly defeating Gogeta by them defusing or simply going beyond Gogeta's power level. And then just finishing the main storyline with Gogeta and Broly fighting from Broly's perspective and Gogeta winning the fight like in the movie. And then on both Goku and Vegeta's side of the storyline, of course, you'll see the same events unfold but with different cutscenes and perspectives building up to their respective fights. And yes, I said cutscenes, not PowerPoint slideshows. This would take the fights all the way from the fights in the Arctic to the fights in the destroyed version of the Arctic into the final battle between Gogeta and Broly, from Gogeta's perspective, of course. They could even do a whole new Daima storyline now that we have more characters available. But then again, they would have to add the Tamagamis, more maps, and so on. While with the Broly movie, they can literally give us both the Arctic map and its destroyed variant, and also the dimension Broly and Gogeta go into when they do their beam clash, and they can do the whole movie storyline starting from the fight in the Arctic. Then we go into the custom battles, the game mode that in my opinion has the most potential within, and at the same time is the most disappointing mode this game has to offer. The concept behind it is very cool. We get to create our own missions and what if scenarios and upload them to the cloud so the community can play them. Only problem being the mode itself. Navigating through it and learning how to do your own custom battles is a kick to the balls. From selecting the special effects you want to trigger in the battle, from how to get those effects to work properly, and don't get me started on setting up the cutscenes you want to see. It's just way too tedious, man. Now, on top of that, add the voiceless dialogue options where you can only basically browse with terms that are already set up by the game, making you look through hundreds of options before finding something that somewhat fits the dialogue you were actually going for. So, how do we make it better? Make it simple and give us more battle options. This game mode has the potential of letting us set up survival modes, raid bosses, cannon fights, or even recreate missions from past game entries like Budokai Tenkaichi 3. In fact, there's already a custom battle playlist on PC that basically allows you to play the Mission 100 mode from Budokai Tenkaichi 3 in Sparking Zero custom battles without modding the game itself. So yeah, the potential is clearly there. You can add an option for us to set up the battle as a survival mode, where you'll fight one-on-one against every single character from the roster, having them come out randomly with full HP and ki after defeating the character you're fighting against, while you keep your same HP and ki levels. This will make all survival runs different due to the characters not appearing in a set order, and you basically win by beating every single character the game throws at you. Now, when you get the whole survival game mode down to the point where it no longer presents any bugs or glitches, you can add the option for us to either set it up as an endless survival mode where we'll get to survive for as long as we can, or for us to set up the actual order that the characters will be showing up and their stats. That alone would add a ton of replayability to the mode itself. Just by making it possible for us to set up a survival mode with randomized characters and stats, and at the same time making it easy to do so. Now, let's get into the meat and potatoes, the main thing. How do we fix PvP? And let me start off by saying that getting new characters into the game is not the way to go. The game is already super unbalanced, and by adding more characters into the mix, it would only make it harder to keep things balanced. So, unless they come out with a God of Destruction pack, or somehow they manage to bring in manga characters like Moro or Granola, which we know is probably not gonna happen due to legal reasons inside the Dragon Ball IP, the characters that they'll bring into the game simply won't be able to compete with the current meta. As I said, the game already has enough low DP characters, and we need more high DP characters that can keep up stat-wise with characters like MUI, Beerus, Full Power Jiren, Whis, Gogeta Blue, and so on. Because these characters not only have the highest stats in the game, but also they have the highest DP multiplier in the game. Adding OG Dragon Ball characters is not a wise thing to do, since they'll just get washed away by everyone else. No one below the Dragon Ball Z part of the anime can realistically go past 5 DP in the game. That would be putting them to the level of base adult Dragon Ball Super Goku, and it's just not it. Those characters simply can't compete in this game. We don't need more low DP characters. They will probably be kind of fun for like the first week or two, and then they'll just be forgotten by everyone since you'll just get one combo by Gogeta Blue and then the match is over. The developers should primarily focus on bringing more updates to fix PvP bugs and glitches, and also updating the other game modes outside of DLC releases. This way, they can also offer a better offline experience for players while releasing updates that fixes bugs and issues we have going on inside PvP, like the revenge counter glitch, where you're able to catch a revenge counter while still on a buff animation or while you're doing an explosive wave and getting revenge counter from the back. Content creator OPAC did a whole video showcasing this, so in case y'all haven't watched that, I'll be showing y'all some examples in this video, and I'll leave a link in the description below for you to go watch OPAC's video. Also, bring in more content in the form of customization items or outfits like Genshin Squadra has done so far. Bring in iconic maps from the series like Kami's Lookout, the Hell stage from the Janemba movie, the Glacier stage from the Broly movie, the 2 remaining Demon Worlds from the Daima series, and even Beerus' Planet, bro. There's a lot of maps that the people want in the game and been asking for since the first DLC came out. And going back into what they should fix for PvP, and we'll all agree on this, the developers need to fix the netcode or make dedicated game servers. Online matches are way too laggy and it seems to get worse with like every update. Super counters also need a fix. This is basically the only reliable defense mechanism outside of explosive wave, but the peer-to-peer netcode makes it almost impossible to get consistently if the connection isn't good enough. Having a universal defense mechanic to be a frame-perfect input in a peer-to-peer netcode is just a nightmare, because if somebody catches your back and they are lag switching or the match is just laggy, then you're not getting out of that combo unless the guy drops it or you have explosive wave and the other guy can't revenge counter you back to start off his combo again. And if y'all don't want to fix super counter to that degree, that's fine. You can add back the emergency blaster blade we had back on Budokai Tenkaichi 3, or you can make the super counter take away a resource when you input it out of the normal active frames, while at the same time resetting both players to neutral and changing the super counter animation. Just let it trigger outside the normal frame activation while getting hit. We know that this type of fixes can be easily implemented into the game because we have mods like Sparking Omega that tweaks the game's mechanics to offer a more competitive experience. Now, I won't get into every single mechanic that this game has to fix because I don't want this to be a longer video than it will already be, and because we can't expect for everything to be fixed at once. So I basically went through what I believe is the most important stuff and what is affecting this game the most. So yeah, that's basically gonna be it. Let's hope that they announce something good in the Genki Damatsuri event, and let's hope that they release a good DLC for this upcoming April. Let me know down in the comments what are your thoughts on this. Leave a like and subscribe to not miss any new uploads. And it's been your boy Spark in Esencia. I'm out.